Greetings, my fellow adventurers. I'd like to tell you a few things about the Scroll of Vorpalize weapon. You know the Scroll of Enchant weapon. You read it and the weapon you're wielding glows blue for a moment. It then has a +1/+0 or a +0/+1 bonus. The Scroll of Vorpalize weapon works similar. You read it out and the weapon you're wielding then gets a +1/+1 bonus. It also has a special bonus against a certain type of monster. To find out what type of monster that is, you've either got to read a scroll of identification and identify the weapon, then it will tell you directly, or the first time you enter a room and see that specific type of monster, your weapon will give off a flash, and then you know. The special bonus means that once in the game you can zap that weapon at that type of monster, and that monster will vanish in a puff of smoke. When hitting that type of monster, it also has an extra +4/+4 bonus that you don't regularly see. Now, if you look in my inventory here, you see I have got E, a Scroll of Vorpalize weapon, and momentarily I have got J, a +9/+9 two-handed sword of dragon slaying. So it's already been Vorpalized. It's a sword of dragon slaying. It has a bonus against dragons. And I would just love to have a +10/+10 two-handed sword of, shall we say, dragon and vampire slaying. So I read the Scroll of Vorpalize weapon and, oh no, my two-handed sword vanishes in a puff of smoke. This is the thing, you cannot Vorpalize one weapon twice. So let's pretend that never happened. I step back and I still have my inventory as I had it beforehand. You see here I've still got the Scroll of Vorpalize weapon and I've still got my +9/+9 dragon slaying sword. I will wield the other sword I've got, a two-handed sword, I, and to find out what it does I'll read a scroll of identification. It vanishes and I will identify I and find out it is a +0/+0 two-handed sword, weapon in hand. Now I read the Scroll of Vorpalize weapon, it vanishes, and my two-handed sword gives off a flash of intense white light. That's much better. Now if we have a look in the inventory, we'll find out it is a +1/+1 two-handed sword, weapon in hand. It doesn't tell us what monster it's got a bonus against, so I've got to read another scroll of identification. I've got a few, so I can do that. I read it, it vanishes, and I find out that H is a +1/+1 two-handed sword of nymph slaying. Well, that's now cost me 2 scrolls of identification to find that out. All nymphs aren't really that fearsome creatures anyway, so let's pretend that didn't happen again. So, I will wield the two-handed sword. Now I read the Scroll of Vorpalize weapon straight away, and the two-handed sword gives off a flash of intense white light. Now I can read one of the scrolls of identification, and it will tell me both things. So identify H, two-handed sword. I see a +1/+1 two-handed sword of rattlesnake slaying. Much better, it's only cost me 1 scroll of identification. If you look, I've still got 2 left. Now, a +1/+1 two-handed sword of rattlesnake slaying is not as good against rattlesnakes as a +9/+9 two-handed sword of dragon slaying. So I'm going to wield that one instead. And I will keep the sword that I can use once to zap a rattlesnake away, even though it would have been better to be able to defeat vampires in that way, or medusas for instance. Those are real buggers downstairs. So there you have it. That's basically what I have to say about the Scroll of Vorpalize weapon, one of the rarest scrolls you can find.